Oh, Kirby dropping it hot. That's awesome. Absolutely. Quaker Oats. Whoa. Okay. Ho-hum. Welcome to another edition of the Promo UPFront Podcast, number 37, actually. Wow. I say ho-hum in jest because I really do love that theme song, but I get tired of going, oh, every week. So not doing that today. I am one of your hosts, Bill Petrie. With me, as always, the one and only captain of Coshocton, Ohio, Kirby Hasseman. Kirby, how the hell are you today?
Doing well, my friend. And I love the title. Thank you. I will take that. Love my hometown. Doing well. The weather's starting to break. I'm feeling, I had a little bit of cough and stuff going on. I'm feeling better. Mm-hmm. But yeah, things are rocking and rolling. Hoping things continue to pick up. How are you, man?
I'm doing great. Thank you for asking. It's spring break here. My kids are actually in Florida attending their own super spreader event, which I appreciate. And so it's just been Sandy and I at home, and it's amazing how clean the house is, how quiet the house is, and how stable the house is. Joking aside,
get ready.
Joking aside, we miss them, ready for them to come back, but they're having a great time. We figured since so much of their senior year was robbed with COVID, we might as well let them go on a trip with some of their friends, a couple parent chaperones, and they're having a great time.
Cool.
But I think one of the reasons they're having a great time, you want to know why?
I would love to know why. Yeah.
Before I let them go, a lot of parents put on their kids' phone an app called Life 360, which allows them to track their kids. I don't believe in that. Now, what we had our children install, though, was Promo Pulse.
Well, of course.
We wanted them on spring break to understand what's going on in the promotional products industry. And what better way to do that than what, Kirby?
Oh, have your Promo Pulse app on your phone all the time.
Exactly, because I don't know where my kids are getting their industry ideas, inspiration, information. I don't know where anybody's doing that, but if they're not doing it at Promo Pulse, they're doing it wrong. It is the one-stop shop for all things in the promotional products industry, Kirby. We talk about that often. It's convenient for you to use, has that wonderful personalized experience. You can sign up for the Daily Pulse to get ideas for your clients every single morning. It's got that awesome Alexa-enabled app. You can ask for podcasts. It's got contact suppliers with one click, the weekly wrap-up emails. I mean, it really is everything. And then last week we talked about their new feature, which is fabulous. Kirby, did you know that distributor companies can have their own private groups within the Promo Pulse app and get an embeddable web feed content of their preferred suppliers? I know you know now, but you didn't a week ago.
I didn't. You're right. That's good. It's one of the things that you mentioned, and you kind of went through it because there's so many features to Promo Pulse, is that one-click thing to get in touch with suppliers. That is really, it's one of those, I think that's underrated, because I think when you're on the road, you need to get a hold of that one supplier, you need their number, you need their contact. Having that in the Promo Pulse app is just one of those sort of undervalued pieces that I really love.
Yeah, and one of the things about the Promo Pulse app, it's almost like your phone. You don't, every once in a while you run into an article about all the things you can do with your phone. You go, I didn't know I could do that. That's cool.
Right.
The Promo Pulse app is like that. There's all these little hidden Easter eggs that you can do some really cool things with. So spend some time with that Promo Pulse app. Trailblazing companies like Facilis Group, American Solutions for Business, AIM, Halo, SAGNY, SAC, MIPA, PAM, CAMP, UMAP, a lot of the regionals, they're using those free tools provided by Promo Pulse. You want to learn more about those groups, and gosh darn it, why wouldn't you? Head over to promopulse.io, Promo Pulse Groups. I'm sorry, let's do that again. promopulse.io / Promo Pulse Groups. Got to get that slash, or else it's just going to be all jumbly wumbly. We don't want that.
No Guns N' Roses without slash. Absolutely.
Well, okay, Kirby, I'm so confused. Why don't you unconfuse us by leading us off with the Promo UPFront topic du jour?
Yeah. So, we've talked about this on this podcast before. There are some weeks where it's like there's just a plethora of topics, and there's so many things I want to bring up. In the interest of transparency, this was not one of those weeks. And so
not today, Bob.
Yeah, I really struggled. And, there's acquisitions, which are interesting to some folks, but we'd be doing those all the time. So I actually have the topic of getting back to normal. And the pens were the top ESP search in February. So
Okay.
now, in the interest of transparency, when I see that headline, I sort of yawn. It was news when it became the idea that it wasn't masks and it wasn't PPE. That's actually
Right.
been the case for a couple months now. But my take on this is that not only do we have permission to get back to selling in a normal way, that of course PPE is still a part of that, but we need to get out and talk about sort of standard branded merchandise items. But actually, I think the permission piece is gone. I think it's much more, it's imperative. We, I think to a degree, are on the cusp of, as an industry, we need to kind of get back to saying, okay, this is who we are. We filled this need over here for a while, and now it's time for us to be more proactive and intentional about marketing, helping people market their business and tell their stories. And so that was sort of my takeaway from that. And I'm reaching a little bit, but I wanted sort of your take on the idea that ESP, number one search, pens.
No, reach away. And you said one of the words I was thinking of as I was listening to you. We have a long and rich history of being reactive as an industry.
Yes.
Which is super unfortunate because we don't need to be. Paul Bellantone used to say that we act like we're the redheaded stepchild of marketing, and we're really not. And so this is a great opportunity to help your clients and instead of being reactive, start driving their business, start being intentional. You said the word intentional. Start being proactive about driving their business as opposed to just trying to plug holes in the dam. Start looking ahead. The light is at the end of the tunnel, I think. With the pandemic, people are getting vaccinated, which is wonderful. I think you've had your first vaccine.
Nope, not yet. No, I can't wait.
All right,
can't wait.
The day this drops, I will not be on social media messing with it because I'm going to be getting my first Pfizer microchip implanted into my arm.
Nice,
and I'm excited about that. I do think it's the right thing to do, but that's beside the point. I think it's time for us to be intentional and say, look, if we are true marketers, we're not identifying trends, we're driving them. And so search engine statistics, like what ASI does with ESP, gives us, and especially you as a distributor, gives us those tools so we can start driving those trends with our clients who may not realize it yet.
Yeah. To me, the news wasn't, oh, I should start talking about pens. The news is, okay, I need to get back in front of this, as opposed to, like, as you said, quit being reactive, start getting in front of people with.
I think the news is start looking at your clients, say, okay, what is it? The world's going to look very different in 3 or 4 months, probably closer to what it looked like 2 years ago. How are you prepared for that? It's it's the same responsibility we have when things started closing up. How are you protecting your employees? How are you making sure they're comfortable working from home? You're providing the same service. It's just different circumstances. And that's what makes this industry so awesome.
Yeah. Love it. Cool.
Awesome.
Thanks, man.
All right, Kirby, let's talk about debranding. Are you familiar with what debranding is?
Please enlighten me.
So, I go down these rabbit holes where I think I love brands, I love logos, and I really enjoy learning about, what shapes them and why they change. We talked about the Burger King logo a couple weeks ago. Excuse me. And so I actually went down a couple articles, and there's a big trend right now called debranding. And I'm going to explain it to you, and you'll understand exactly what it is in about 2 seconds. It's a marketing strategy to remove the manufacturer's name from a product to appear less corporate. So so you'd have no logo, strategic font and color, no tagline. So think of the Nike swoosh. That is debranding. There's no word, there's no Nike. Think of the Starbucks mermaid. They evolved from having Starbucks coffee, and now it's just the mermaid. Or my favorite one, which is Coca-Cola, where every summer they take the words Coca-Cola off the can, and they have a ad campaign. Have a Coke with a friend, and they have people's names on them, which is pretty cool. Those are great examples of debranding. And so I wanted to ask you, when do you think it's a good time for any brand in the industry, out of the industry, to maybe look at simplifying their brand to a point where it's almost a subtle debrand? And I can go if you want, because obviously I have the advantage here. I kind of did some research on this, so
Well,
it's
I'll
a
be
little
curious to
unfair
hear.
pop on you.
No, I don't mind it. So, to me, it's two different kind of things. And so, so for me, the ultimate for us, and as you look, like literally right here, right? So it was the ultimate for us when people started to sort of recognize our Circle H. So I think, if I'm understanding correctly, taking Hasseman marketing off of it and just having the Circle H on our chest, that's a step in that direction. Is that accurate?
No, absolutely. I have the same thing. I'm wearing this right here. It's pretty subtle. It's a deboss on my shirt, or here on the bar mat. Same type of thing. And one of the things that as I was going through this, I'm like, what a really interesting concept when people can recognize your brand without all manner of words and in-your-face advertising. You've really done something. I think in your case, I think the Circle H I identify a lot more than the icon over that we have at Brandivate with the upside down V. I don't think we're there yet.
I was going to say, we've been around a little bit, but the other piece I've seen, and this is the one that translates to our industry, and I'll be curious if you agree that this is in the same mode, is the folks who are essentially taking messages, and we've done this too, where it's like you take a message that you can get behind as a brand. Like for us, it was the t-shirt where we said, give first, work hard, be kind, repeat. And that was the message. That was the whole t-shirt. Then back here, we put our logo in smaller letters. Would you call that the same kind of concept?
I think so. I think it's subtle in different ways. I mean, like we use for the Promo UPFront podcast, we don't use the whole phrase Promo UPFront podcast with Kirby and Bill. We have a logo for that. I don't think we've ever used it. We just use the little up with the arrow in it. And so things like that, on a lot of the apparel or drinkware or any sort of products we have at Brandivate, we use just what we call the Brandivate icon. And, looking at the debranding, one of the things that a lot of articles were really consistent about, which is very interesting. If you want to consider doing it, you really should hit about 3 buckets. Number one, the brand should be mature. I think your brand is a lot more mature than mine. And what they define, or ours, I should say, with Brandivate, one of the things they define as mature is it's capable of delivering meaning and value. You have a longer history of doing that. I think obviously it's time. And then second, it should be progressive and visionary, but rooted in the customer's mind. I think we're close on our side. We're closer to that. I think you achieve that. The second is the brand should be a known innovator. You are a known innovator, and I love that about you. And then the last one, the target audience. And I think this is where we both hit. And I think a lot of companies in our industry hit if they wanted to look at debranding. The target audience should be able to identify your brand easily.
Yeah.
So when I see that Circle H, I know what I'm dealing with.
Right.
So hopefully we get to the point when people see that white V in the blue or upside down V in the blue circle, they know it's Brandivate. I think it just takes time, though. I think it takes time. Oh, there we go. Rocking it. I love it.
Yeah. It does. So, but the other thing that popped into my head though was the Doritos thing they did like a year or two ago, where they took their logo completely off the bag. I think, I remember thinking that was dumb. And even in the context of this, I think that was too far. I think that was like a gimmick. And I don't think that, to me, that was, I to this day, I'm like, that was stupid. So
as David St. Hubbins from Spinal Tap once so eloquently said, there's a fine line between stupid and clever. And that was it. I mean, I agree. When it becomes a gimmick, it's not effective. I mean, you're going to get the attention, but it's almost silly, right? It's almost to a point where it's silly. I just thought it was an interesting discussion as you see more and more brands go into this very simplistic look. Because if you look at brands over the last 20 years, they used to be so much more, a lot more gradients, a lot more three-dimensional, even the Google logo or Infinity or Nissan, and they're going to much more flat, simple, unbranded logos. Very interesting stuff.
It really is. So my question would be, and I'd be curious to hear what the audience has to say in the comments, is this just a trend that, certainly design has sort of moved to a more simplistic thing, or is this a long-term play? I think the debranding thing is long-term. I wonder if the simplistic design is cyclical. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll be curious.
I'll be curious to hear too, because I do think it's here to stay. I mean, what is the McDonald's logo these days? It's just the M. It's just the golden arches.
Yeah.
There's nothing else.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
But before we move on, Kirby, to your topic, I'd like to talk about something that's very near and dear to hopefully all of our audience's heart, and that's the world of promotional products. I have the honor of the promo product of the week, and this is a really, really cool one.
Okay.
It is a guitar pick from Zuji. Have you seen these things?
I have. Those are super cool.
So it's a half dome guitar pick. The part number is PTP1, and what it's really cool about it, it's super durable. It's clear, and it has your logo on it. And I'm telling you, it actually holds up under use. I'm actually going to do this.
Oh, I can't
I'm
wait.
actually getting the guitar out. I'm actually going to do this, but it really holds up under stress. There's your chord. There you go. There's the chord I know. Not really.
That's the chord.
But no, seriously, it really does hold up under use, and I've been playing with it a little bit. I know Jason Noakes has some, so they're really, really cool. So PTP1, the half dome guitar pick from our good pals over at Zuji.
Love it. That's a good one, and a little like it was like dinner and a show. That's pretty awesome.
That's the worst show anybody's ever seen. That's for sure. All right, Kirby, please save us with a topic.
Okay. I saw this headline. Just curious to know your take on it. Is the 8-hour workday dead? So sort of the article said that the 8-hour workday is somewhat of an arbitrary number with a relatively short history. A recent argument in Fast Company said it really doesn't have to be that way. And some organizations, 5 hours is enough to get the work done and stay productive. So I know we've sort of lived through some big changes, and I think some of them are really interesting, and I think some will continue. Is the 8-hour workday dead? What say, Bill?
I don't think it's been alive for years. I think it's one extreme or the other. I think sometimes it's the 12-hour workday that sometimes is very much alive, depending on the project or what you're doing. And sometimes the 3-hour workday is very much alive. So to me, having an arbitrary amount, having people clock in and clock out, I do think the pandemic and having so many people working from home has really escalated in sped up the death of the 8-hour workday. When we had an office at Promo Corner, I really didn't care really when people worked unless there were certain things. So work when you're most productive. And I never had an issue with that. As long as deadlines are met, things are done the right way, the quality is good. Who am I to say you should work between 8 and 5? Just because I happen to be productive in the morning doesn't mean you're productive in the morning. So I think it's really hastened the death of the 8-hour workday, to be honest with you. And so, there are days where I'm in here 14 hours. There's also days I'm here 4 hours because I don't, the work is done. Yeah. So I do think it's hastened it. And I think that's a good thing. I think it helps, even though I don't believe in a work-life balance. I think if you love your work, then it's part of your life. And so it's not this, I have to get away from one or the other. But I do think it does help with just that mindset of I don't have to sit here for a certain period of time just because someone told me I have to.
Sure. Yeah, I'm going to push back a little. It feels like about every other week there is a new study that tells that someone has written that says I don't have to work very hard, and that the people are kind of pushing the 8-hour workday or the 5-day work week to me, it's just like, okay, it's a new way for half our work population to say, I don't feel like working. And so look, there's a new study that says that. For the most part, I think I understand what you're saying with the idea of flexibility. And I think part of it's also sort of the entrepreneurial mindset. Like you're right in the sense that 8-hour workday is not my normal. 10-hour, 12 hours a little bit. 10 hours probably closer to normal. But I think that one of the reasons you have that flexibility is because there are times where you double down. I think that there are times and that there are certain functions where there are hours in the day where customers expect you to be responsive. And I think that's where some of that 8-hour workday comes from, is that you need someone to answer the phones. You need someone to get back to people. And I think a complete level of flexibility, it's hard to manage that. And it's hard to manage those expectations.
Yeah, fair enough. I didn't mean to give the impression I was painting with such broad strokes. So
well, it's hard because we are saying that.
Yeah, there needs to be coverage. Of course, in customer service in some areas, there do need to be some positions where a phone is manned or a chat box is manned, so on and so forth. I'm not saying that. What I'm trying to say is when you can't force inspiration.
Sure. Yeah.
And so, I think there needs to be some flexibility there. I mean, look, on average, I probably am sitting at this desk about the same amount you are.
Right.
And sometimes I'm here 12 or 14 hours because tomorrow's whatever Friday, let's see Friday. I really, after about 10:30, I don't want to work.
Yeah.
I really need a mental break. And so you double down. And so I guess what I'm talking more about is it's not so much 8 hours is or isn't enough. It's about flexibility and making sure things are done with quality, customers are being responded to. So if that in the scope of your job description takes 8 hours a day, great. If it takes 12 hours a day, great. If it takes 4 hours a day, great. As long as it's done and done the right way, I don't have a problem with it.
Love it. Cool. I just thought it was that was just really, and to be honest with you, I really philosophically agree with you. I just sort of do believe there's a new study out every day saying, dude, I don't think we need to work very much.
Yeah. I agree. And I don't think it's about not working very much. To me, it's about working efficiently. I know that there are some times where I will get so much done. I don't have things to do. Now,
that's a great
as an entrepreneur, there's always something to do.
Yeah.
So whether is there a new piece of content I want to do, or is there a piece of content I need to take care of? Is there some advertising I want to do? And how am I, there's always something to do.
Right.
So don't get me wrong. I'm just talking about client work here.
Yeah. No, it was good. It's a fun little discussion.
I saw a post on Facebook, Kirby, that I'd like to talk to you about. So it was about leadership. It was it was only up for a brief time and it was taken down. I actually spoke with the person who wrote it, and this person took it down because they didn't want to think their bosses to think they were referring to them. So it was just written in a certain way that they were concerned it might be misinterpreted. So smart to take it down. But before it got taken down, there were some interesting discussions, and it was the person who posted it was kind of talking about failures of leadership. Mm-hmm. And man, did people pile on quickly about how, these type of people shouldn't be leaders, and what people, all these things about, they forget who really works for them and who provides the engine. And I thought my immediate response was, and I actually had started writing I had started in my head writing a response, and then the post was taken down. And I want to get your thought on that, because I think you saw the post. Looking at your face, I think you may have seen the post. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to say who wrote it, because I just don't think it's fair. But boy, people piled on very quickly, and I have some thoughts on that. If you'd like to go, or I'll go, I don't care. But I have some thoughts on that. Not the initial post, but man, the comments underneath, I sure have some thoughts on.
I'm going to let you go first, because I have some thoughts, but I'd kind of like to see where you go with it.
So a lot of people were saying some people weren't meant to be leaders, and all these things. And all I kept thinking was, there is so little grace on this thread for people in leadership positions.
Sure.
And some of them were, one of the comments was, so many managers and leaders don't allow people to make mistakes. And I thought, well, hold on a second. Just because and gosh knows, I've managed people, I've been a leader of organizations, and I've made, I can't even count how many mistakes I've made. Just because you have experience doesn't mean you make mistakes.
Of course.
Okay? You're going to make mistakes. It's about owning mistakes. I mean, I've made all manner of mistakes, leading companies and managing people. The key is to learn from them and don't repeat them. Mm-hmm. It's not to not make them. You're going to make them. And I just thought, what an incredible lack of grace for that. Like I said, I've made terrible mistakes in communication, or bad hires, or trusting the wrong people, or elevating the wrong people, or maybe keeping an employee on too long, or pointing in a different direction. That's part of taking the risk of being a leader. And for so many people to pile on, it just is like, wow, it's just a weird thing. And just like anything else you learn on the job.
Right.
Any job you learn on the job. So I want to get your response on that.
Yeah. So I think one of the things that's a challenge, and it's a challenge because, I think, and I'll just speak for myself. As one of the ways that I kind of grew in two positions of leadership is that to a degree, I'm a bit of a people pleaser, right? Because I want to, and that actually, it pleases your superiors. So you tend to get, put in different positions. The first thing that happens is you find out that your first position of leadership is you can't please everybody all the time.
Nope.
And it doesn't matter what you say. That my first position of leadership, a bunch of people who I ended up managing wanted the job.
Yeah.
They were not interested in my success, right? It took a while to win that position over. So one of the first things I learned is thick skin. And it's one of those that is really hard as a people pleaser. It's almost harder for it's almost like that dichotomy of people pleasing got you there. That's not going to help you there, right?
No, it's not. And I'm the same way. So I completely relate to that.
And the other thing that I find on posts like that, and again, just anytime there's piling on, right? It doesn't matter that specific post, is almost always I'm like, they don't know the whole story. I don't know the whole story, but I know by just their comments, they don't know the whole story. There's always more perspectives, right?
Absolutely.
And that's, you were like, oh my God, I can't believe the grace. It is funny how they quickly flip the script and say, they've put themselves as the hero of that story. And they remember the time that they got screwed or whatever. Right. And man, it is funny how that when you hear the whole story, most of the time there's not a dark room and a conspiracy theory where people are making choices. Somebody just made the best decision in a crappy situation where a bunch of people are going to be pissed. And without all of that, all of the facts of the situation, everybody can just pile on and say that guy's a jerk or that gal's a jerk. And it's like,
right.
And so, and the final thought that comes in my head, and I talk about this is a lesson in leadership, but I talk to my kids about this, is like, mistakes are going to happen. Right. And I tell my girls, it's like, there's 3 steps, right? Mm-hmm. First thing is own it, which is sort of professing to your team that you made the mistake.
Absolutely.
Second is learning from it. And the third is moving on.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And when I read the comments, I'm like, gosh, I hate that people have had so many negative experiences with managers, bosses, leaders, whatever you want to call it. And I'm the same way. Every time I make a mistake, and I think anybody who reported to me would agree, I'm the first person to wear that hat of responsibility and say, I screwed up here. This is my fault. And I'm a big believer as a leader, when we succeed, we succeed. When we fail, I failed. Right. And that's the way I've always approached any of those things. I just thought it was a very interesting thing, the complete just lack of grace of other people possibly making mistakes or errors in judgment, because, it just was very interesting to me.
And the other lesson is just the reason, and the post was taken down, is be careful about making broad generalized statements, because people will make assumptions.
Well, that is the internet, isn't it? It's hasty generalization. The internet, if I could distill the internet down into one sentence, it's hasty generalizations peppered with shock value. Yeah. There you go.
And anger. Yeah.
And anger. All right, Kirby, I think we can move on. Let's play a game. Let's have a little fun here at the end. I've got the game this week. We're going to play a game. This is called the Brand Mascot Real Name Test. Okay, so we talked about debranding earlier, and I thought
you get so excited about these things.
This is so awesome. And I have to give Danny Rose a little bit of credit, because he sent me something last week, and I thought that's going to make a great game. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the mascot name for a brand, and you give me the brand. We're going to start off very easy. Okay. Okay. For example, in our industry, SKUBot is the mascot for
Common SKU.
See how easy this is?
Okay.
This is not going to be hard.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah, sure. I'm 1 for 1 right now. I'm 100%.
Yeah. Ronald McDonald.
McDonald's. Feeling good.
Tony the Tiger.
Frosted Flakes.
Very good. Toucan Sam.
Fruit Loops.
Very good. Charlie the Tuna.
Oh, obviously it's a tuna.
Come on. We're still in the easy section here,
I
Kirby.
know, man.
This is Starkist.
Starkist. Okay. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. I'm very concerned about the rest of this game.
Oh, yeah. Now. You and me both, bro.
Colonel Sanders.
KFC,
Kentucky Fried Chicken. All right. Elsie the Cow.
Give me a second. It's a milk. Superior?
There you go, kids. It's a milk. What?
Superior milk?
No, not Superior Milk. That'd be Borden.
Okay.
Chester Cheetah.
It's for Cheetos?
Very good. You're not okay. Now we're getting a little. Here, let me give you one more easy one. Julius Pringles.
I'm hoping it's Pringles.
It is. All right.
Yeah, okay.
Are you ready now? We're getting into the harder part.
Okay.
Uncle Rich Penny Bags. Or Rich Uncle Penny Bags.
No clue.
That'd be Monopoly.
Okay.
Monopoly board game. Mr. Whipple.
Toilet paper.
Charmin, correct.
Charmin,
I'll give you. I'm going to give you credit for that.
Okay.
Cornelius Rooster.
A, I don't know, and B, I don't want to make a joke guess.
Yeah, you don't. That'd be Kellogg's Cornflakes, Kirby.
Okay.
The Frito Bandito.
I hope it's for Fritos.
It is. Punchy.
No clue.
Come on, think about it. Punchy, the Hawaiian Punch.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hawaiian Punch.
The Noid.
Oh, that was like a Domino's thing, right?
Very good. All right, last three. These are extra credit, Kirby. So we might be able to erase some of your transgressions earlier in the game. William Penn.
Is that Quaker Oats?
Oh, Kirby dropping it hot. That's awesome. Absolutely, Quaker Oats. Whoa. Okay. I can forgive you for the whole Elsie the Cow thing now. That's awesome. All right. Alfred E. Newman.
Oh, Mad Magazine.
What? What is going on? Kirby knows all the hard ones. So I can forgive you for Charlie the Tuna.
I said it was tuna.
Well, no, but you didn't say the brand. That's like saying, no, that's dumb. That's like saying the Michelin Man's about tires. Okay.
It is.
All right. Last one. Sonny the Cuckoo Bird.
Sonny the Cuckoo Bird. Yeah, man, I'm out. Sorry, I don't know those.
Oh man, I was rooting for you on that one. He's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, Kirby.
Oh yeah, I should have gotten that
Cocoa
one.
Puffs. But you know what I'm cuckoo for?
What's that, Bill?
Oh, thank you for asking. Yes. Our pal Jason Oakes, the Promo Pulse app. We do talk about that. We joke about it a little bit, but I tell you what, it really is a fantastic tool. If you're not checking Promo Pulse every day, you're not checking the health of the industry. See what I did there? Yeah. That's right. So if you want industry ideas, inspiration, information, Kirby's got it on his iPhone. I've got it on mine. It's available on the Android store, the Google Play Store, I guess it's called, and then the App Store if you're an iPhone person. It's got everything. Kirby's scrolling through it right now effortlessly. If you are just listening, you can't imagine. It's unbelievable how effortless it is to scroll through the app and get those ideas, that inspiration, that information. And what we just talked about earlier in the show, they got those they've got those really, really cool private groups that are within the Promo Pulse app for distributor companies where you can get an embeddable web feed of content from your preferred suppliers. Really cool stuff. You want to learn more, head over to promopulse.io/promopulse groups. Kirby, I think that'll do it. I'm not only cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, I'm cuckoo for Coshocton. That's right.